There's something about potato harvest time that's just a little bit addicting. You planted the seed, you watch the tops grow, and you have absolutely no idea what's been happening down underneath the soil for months. It's basically a mystery box buried in the ground. And today, we finally find out what is in that box. But I will tell you right now, we were not expecting what we got. Hi, and welcome back to Whitetail Acres Farm. So if you've been with us since earlier this spring, you know we tried something pretty different with our potatoes this year. In the past seasons here on the farm, we have always grown our potatoes in raised beds. And honestly, that method worked very fine for us. The raised beds are easy to manage, easy to harvest out of, and we always got a decent yield. But this year we wanted to try growing our potatoes at a bigger scale and test out a method that we've been curious about, plastic mulch production. So we dedicated 2 40-foot rows right in our corn patch specifically for potatoes. We planted 40 pounds of seeds total, 20 pounds of the Kennebec and 20 pounds of the Yukon Gold. And now if you're not familiar with either of these varieties, Kennebec is a classic white potato, big, starchy, and versatile. Great for frying, baking, soups, you name it. Very popular with the homesteaders market and gardeners because of how consistently they produce and how well they store. Yukon Gold is a little different. It has that beautiful gold flesh, buttery flavor, and it just looks gorgeous when you bring it out of the ground. We were really excited about both. We put them in using our Rain-Flo raised bed plastic mulch layer, which we actually won at auction last year. This was our first real season putting that Rain-Flo to work for potatoes, and we were really curious to see how this machine performed. The Rain-Flo lays the plastic mulch down and forms the bed in one pass. It's a really slick piece of equipment. For anyone not familiar with black plastic mulch production, the black plastic helps warm the soil earlier in the season, which potatoes love. It holds moisture in so you lose less to evaporation, and it completely suppresses weeds underneath, which means a lot less maintenance throughout the season. A lot of commercial vegetable growers use this method, and we wanted to see how it translated to our scale here on our farm. Now here's where things got interesting. We actually handled our 2 rows a little bit differently as the season went on. On the first row, once the weather really warmed up and plants were established, we went in and opened up the plastic mulch to give the plants a little bit more breathing room. The second row we left completely intact. Just the tops of the plants pushed straight up through the plastic on their own, and we left everything else sealed up underneath. So we had 2 different approaches, same crop, same general conditions. We were curious to see if the difference in management had any impact on the final yield. We started with row 1, where we had opened up the plastic mulch.
Yeah, look at the size of that, and that was basically just below, like as far as I was going to go.
Now, the moment before you start digging into the ground for the first time, there's real suspense there. You generally don't know if you're going to come up with a handful of tiny marbles or something beautiful. Right from the very first plant we lifted, we could tell this was going to be a good harvest. Many of these came up big, smooth, and clean. No major pest damage, no hollow heart, nice firm skins, exactly what we wanted to see. One of the things we immediately noticed about growing under the plastic mulch compared to our raised beds is the soil underneath was incredibly loose and workable. Normally, when you're digging potatoes in the garden, even in well-prepared beds, you are fighting through some resistance. Under the plastic, the potatoes just almost rolled out when we moved the dirt. It made the whole process so much easier. So we only got one of our 2 40-foot rows done, and this is what we got out of one 40-foot row of potatoes, and pretty happy with it. Most of them are really big, really nice sizes, like these. It's pretty awesome.
Definitely some big ones in there.
This is one of our better crops that we've gotten. I can't wait to tackle the second row tomorrow. It's getting pretty dark out right now, so we're going to head in and take some much needed showers and
get these squared away. I would like to weigh them and really see how much we've gotten. And then tomorrow we'll come back out again, check the other row. And then we still have those raised beds, the wire basket beds that we've made.
The potato towers.
Yeah, the potato towers. We need to see how they did. I'm not sure they're quite ready to be picked yet. These plants were starting to die off, which is a sign that you need to start picking the potatoes. The other plants still look pretty green and healthy, so that might be a little while yet, but it'll be really neat to compare how this method went compared to the other method. But we're going to head in now, and we'll come back out tomorrow and finish tackling this project.
If you're enjoying following along with what we have been doing here on the farm this season, it means a lot to us that you're here. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already and turn on the notifications so you don't miss what's coming up next. If you want to further support our family farm, you can hit that join button to become a member and receive some fun perks as a thank you. We post 2 to 3 times a week and there's always something going on here. So after we had finished digging the first row, we weighed the harvest, 108 pounds, and we were really happy about that. But I'll be honest with you, once that number was in my head, I started thinking about that second row. Because here's the thing, the row where we left the plastic completely intact all season, in theory, that approach should have retained even more of the soil moisture and kept the soil temperature even more consistent throughout the growing season. No openings anywhere, no evaporation points, just a completely sealed environment under there from planting all the way to harvest. Whether that would actually show up in the yield, we were about to find out. The next evening, we headed back out. We started at one end of the row and began working our way through. These potatoes were beautiful as well. They almost looked pretty enough to eat. Almost. We got into a rhythm working down the row, and the potatoes were just coming out beautifully. Consistent size, excellent quality, and the same loose, easy to work with soil. Something we noticed comparing the 2 rows as we worked through them, this row felt just slightly more consistent in sizing across the whole row. We can't say for sure whether it was the variety mix difference or if it was the intact mulch method, but it was something we noticed. This is actually one of the things we love about trying 2 different approaches in the same season. You start to pick up those little details that you would never notice otherwise.
Look at that. That is awesome.
We worked through every plant, then went back through with our hands to make sure that we got every potato collected, and then we brought the baskets over to Betsy, our golf cart, so we can bring them back to the house to weigh.
All right, we just finished picking our second 40-foot row, and I think we got more this time than we did last night, and I'm pretty excited. Yesterday, we ended up weighing all of the baskets, and we got 108 pounds of potatoes in one 40-foot row. And I think we have more here, so I don't know. My guess, maybe 115 pounds. I'm not sure. But I'm really excited to get these back to the house, weigh them, and then we'll see which row did the best.
So the first harvest of that first row, we had 108 pounds. Then, after we dug up the second row, we ended up with 123 and a half pounds. So let's do a little bit of math here on the whole harvest. Row 1, 108 pounds. Row 2, 123 and a half pounds. Total potato harvest from 2 40-foot rows of 40 pounds of total seeds and the Rain-Flo planter, 231 and a half pounds. 231 and a half pounds of potatoes from 40 potato seeds. That's nearly a 6-to-1 return. We are so pleased with how this turned out. And the next morning, we were so excited to try our first harvest of potatoes for the year by making some amazing home fries. What a great harvest we had. Well, we appreciate you being here with us today. We hope you enjoyed the video. and we will see you on the next one.